Italy, a name that evokes images of art, history, and almost mythical beauty. We're referring to the boot-shaped country located in southern Europe, a peninsula that, with its distinctive silhouette, is embraced by the deep blue Mediterranean Sea and crowned by the majestic Alps. From the temperate and cosmopolitan north to the fiery south, bathed in a golden sun, the atmosphere is steeped in history. Yes, you heard right. In the prosperous region of the birthplace of the legendary Parmigiano, there exists a very special bank where local producers deposit their 40-kilogram wheels of cheese, as if they were precious assets. From the gleaming red dome of Florence Cathedral, a feat of Brunelleschi's engineering that dominated the skyline for centuries, to the romantic Ponte Vecchio, spanning the Arno River. Its jewelry shops dangling like nests. The city is an open-air museum where the spirit of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci still whispers in your ear. To the northwest, on the Ligurian coast, lies Cinque Terre, 5 fishing villages clinging to cliffs that plunge into crystal-clear waters. No cars, no chaos, just the sea breeze, the sound of waves breaking against the rocks, and houses painted in vibrant hues like brushstrokes on a canvas. And then there's the Amalfi Coast, Positano Ravello, towns that seem plucked from a summer dream, their villas cascading over the sea. As evening falls, with a glass of white wine in hand and the sunset dying, the horizon orange, pink, and purple. You'll ask yourself, am I dreaming?
Yes.
Whether you're in Italy for a few days or a longer stay, you may arrive with just one suitcase, but when you leave, it will be full, not of objects, but of memories, emotions, and perhaps a new dream to fulfill. These wheels, worth thousands of euros each, are used as collateral to obtain bank loans. It's a system built on trust and the tangible value of an artisanal product. Not just any cheese can enter this fortress. Parmigiano Reggiano, the king of cheeses, must pass a series of rigorous tests. An expert cheesemaker, armed with a small hammer, taps each wheel, listening to the sound for any internal imperfections. Only perfect pieces receive the seal of approval. Each wheel, labeled with a unique serial number, is stored in climate-controlled vaults. Temperature and humidity are maintained with military precision, and complex security systems protect the treasure from theft and natural disasters. Walking among the towering shelves that soar to the ceiling, with that rich, nutty, and slightly salty aroma permeating the air, makes you feel like you've entered Italy's version of Fort Knox. Except here, the treasure smells incredibly good and whets your appetite. Americans invest in tech futures. Italians invest in cheese, because for them, cheese isn't just something you eat. It's heritage, it's pride, it's proof that manual labor and patience are priceless. And sometimes, it's a savings account that literally grows in value over time. The sound of ancient church bells echoes in narrow stone alleys, while the intoxicating aroma of freshly brewed coffee escapes from cafes and floats through open piazzas. But what truly distinguishes it is not the number, but the way its people live with these treasures every day of their lives. Here, history is not confined to museums or enclosed behind glass. It is beneath your feet on the Roman roads, on the steps of a piazza where you sit and rest, on the ivy-covered walls you pass. In Rome, a simple walk is a journey through millennia. At its heart stands the Colosseum, the legendary arena that once held more than 50,000 spectators thirsting for spectacle. More than 2,000 years later, its stone skeleton still stands, a silent testament to the glory and brutality of the Roman Empire. Sit on its cold steps, close your eyes. You can almost hear the clash of gladiators' swords, the roar of lions, and the roar of the crowd. Time still breathes through every crack in the stone. Leave Rome and Pisa will welcome you with its iconic Leaning Tower, a 12th century foundation error that became a global symbol of imperfect beauty. No one leaves without taking the classic photo, pretending to hold up the tower that seems to defy gravity. Here, you'll constantly feel how history breathes alongside the present in a continuous dance. In a single day, you can wear a coat to protect yourself from the cold atop an alpine peak in the morning, and then stroll in a light shirt along the Amalfi Coast in the afternoon, feeling the sea breeze. The Italian sun is generous, golden, but never harsh. It's a climate made for living, unhurriedly, for living beautifully. As of December 2024, Italy's population is around 60 million, and more than 90% identify as Italian. But within that number lies a rich and vibrant tapestry of regional identities. A Milanese is as different from a Sicilian as a New Yorker is from a Texan. This diversity is reflected in everything: dialects, traditions, and, of course, food. A Sicilian pizza, with its thick crust and robust flavors, is nothing like a thin, crispy, Milanese cotoletta. One group that stands out in particular is the Sardinians. Sardinia, the enigmatic island of longevity, is world famous for having the highest concentration of centenarians in the world. A mystery scientists attribute to a combination of genetics, diet, and an active, communal lifestyle. This unique geography creates a world of spectacular contrasts. To the north, the imposing Alps stretch skyward, a winter wonderland where you can ski in the morning on pristine snow. And just a few hours later, after a short trip dive into the warm, crystal-clear waters of the Ligurian Riviera. One day, two seasons. A duality that only Italy can offer so naturally. This country also has the uniqueness of completely surrounding two of the smallest but most famous nations in the world. Vatican City, the spiritual epicenter of the Catholic faith, and the ancient and serene Republic of San Marino. With an area of approximately 301,000 square kilometers smaller than the state of California, Italy defies the notion that size equals influence. It's home to a staggering 55 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the largest concentration on the planet. It doesn't need to be enormous to inspire the world's admiration. Its legacy speaks for itself. Italy is a place where time seems to flow at a different pace, a sanctuary where every moment is savored with a particular intensity, and in a twist that perfectly captures Italy's ingenuity and deep connection to its traditions. The country has a bank that holds not gold nor stocks, but cheese. Italy holds the world record for the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Then comes Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, a city where every corner seems like a work of art. If you've ever seen an Italian woman walking through a square in Florence, that image will likely be etched in your memory forever. This isn't ostentatious beauty, but rather an innate elegance, a serene confidence that emanates from within. A simple but perfectly cut dress, oversized sunglasses that add an air of mystery, bright red lipstick, high heels that echo on the cobblestones, a quality leather handbag, and that direct, confident gaze that seems to say, composed of 118 islands connected by more than 150 canals and around 400 bridges. This aquatic labyrinth can baffle, even Google Maps. But no matter how many photos, videos, or travel guides you've seen, that first moment you step out of the Santa Lucia train station and onto the Grand Canal is always a small shock of overwhelming beauty. But if you're a coffee lover, accustomed to large cups and endless syrup options, brace yourself. Italy might surprise you, it might enchant you, or it might leave you a little baffled. First, forget the idea of looking for a Starbucks on every corner. Instead, you'll enter Thebes, which aren't places with loud music or for sipping shots, but rather cozy places where Italians stand at the bar and sip an espresso as if it were a sacred morning ritual. It's a quick, almost choreographed act. You walk in, ask for un per favor, drink it in 2 or 3 sips. While exchanging a few words with the barista, leave a coin on the counter and continue with your day. A tiny cup that fits in the palm of your hand, yet contains a flavor so intense and concentrated that it's capable of awakening your soul. In Italy, coffee is something to be taken away in a paper cup or whiled away hours. On a laptop, it's a moment, a sacred pause, a way for Italians to pause for a few minutes in the middle of a busy morning to slowly savor life itself. And there's a particularly poignant tradition, colite suspend coffee, or pending coffee. It works like this. You pay for 2 coffees, but only drink 1. The second is left on hold for someone who might be having a bad day and can't afford it. A small, anonymous gesture, as warm and comforting as a freshly brewed cup of coffee. The surprises don't end there. Quality is an obsession. Whether you're in a chic Milanese cafe, a train station, a motorway gas station, or even a hospital, the espresso is still good. There are even vending machines that grind the beans and prepare fresh espresso instantly, allowing you to choose from up to 10 different styles. Just press a button, wait a few seconds, and there it is. The essence of Italy, captured in a small cup. So, when you're in Italy, do you miss the opportunity to enjoy an espresso at a bar counter and immerse yourself in the culture and character that every sip offers? It's not just what your eyes see, but what your skin feels in the cool mist that rises at dawn over the lagoon. What your feet feel on the smooth stone, polished by millions of steps over the centuries. It's a song that makes your heart race when a lone violin plays at sunset in the majestic Piazza San Marco. Venice is not for the hurried. Its charm lies not in the noise or the excitement, but in its power to make you stop. Truly, stop, to observe, to feel, to remember. Here, you don't just walk through history. You live in it, float with it. Just as Venice itself has floated through the centuries, confronting the tides in time. Peaceful, proud, fragile, and infinitely mysterious. Here, there are no cars, no honking horns, no traffic jams. The tyranny of the automobile does not exist. Venetians travel by gondola, the elegant and silent black swan of the canals. In steamboat, its version of a water bus, full of life and stories. Or, simply on foot, getting lost in narrow stone alleys. The Colli, where every step feels like turning the page of an ancient book. What truly sets Venice apart is its unique soundtrack. The air isn't polluted by the roar of engines, but softened by the gentle lapping of oars on the water. The murmur of Venetian dialect, conversations escaping from a baccarat, and the distant echo of a bell. Every step in Venice feels like gliding through a Canaletto watercolor painting. The pastoirs, weathered by humidity, are reflected in the deep green canals. Balconies are adorned with vibrant flowers, and the salty sea breeze wafts through the narrow alleys, carrying with it the scent of the I know who I am, and I am comfortable in my own skin. Italian women don't follow fashion. They are fashion. Their style, known as sprezzatura, is the art of looking effortlessly impeccable. They present themselves every day as if Milan were holding a catwalk show. Even if they're just going to buy fresh tomatoes at the market in the morning, without being flashy, they glow. Radiant skin, hair with volume and movement, expressive eyes that tell stories, and a captivating smile. They live with an innate sense of style, from how they dress to how they gesture passionately when they speak. This isn't a superficial beauty for others to admire. It's a beauty to be experienced, to savor every moment. Even in the heat of an argument with her husband, she can turn and give her son a tender, knowing smile. For them, emotion is natural, never hidden, never repressed. They are a whirlwind of passion, warmth, and strength. Italian women are captivating not because they try, but because they know who they are. They are strong, refined, and intelligent. They uplift men while keeping them on their toes. They don't need to be protected, but they inspire an almost chivalrous desire to protect them. They are the pillar of the family, the guardians of traditions, and at the same time, modern women pursuing their own ambitions. Today, many Italian women are more open to love without boundaries. They appreciate sincerity, individuality, and a man with a sense of style and life. They don't seek perfection, but authenticity. As long as you are genuinely yourself, confident, kind, passionate, and with good taste, you could win her heart. But be prepared, because loving an Italian woman is an adventure in itself. In fact, many visitors come to Italy for the art and history, fall in love with a person, and never leave, finding in that relationship an anchor to a richer, more soulful life. Venice, the name alone evokes a sigh. It's not just a city. It's a dream floating on water, an engineering impossibility that has survived for centuries. Millions of people visit Venice every year. Italian coffee is famous all over the world, a pillar of the national culture. In Italy, breakfast isn't a culinary event. It's a fleeting moment, quick, simple, and effortlessly styled. Italians don't spend 30 minutes on an elaborate breakfast. They walk into a bar, stand at the marble or zinc counter. Stay with us to find out. Italian life, that slow, beautiful, and soulful life known as la dolce vita, isn't a race against time. It's more like a jazz tune, free, fluid, improvised, and full of style. Italians don't live fast. They live deeply, consciously, pausing to enjoy the moment. Living slowly isn't laziness. It's a philosophical choice. Lunch isn't a sandwich devoured in front of a computer. It's a sacred moment of sharing and laughing, as if it were a small daily celebration. Evenings are for strolling. Stroll, syncing their steps to the rhythm of city life. Italians dress well, not necessarily to impress others, but because they believe that life and themselves deserve to be graced with beauty. Even a quick trip to buy bread is an opportunity to live beautifully. They communicate with genuine eyes, real smiles, and a symphony of hand gestures that can express more than 1,000 words. Even a humble plate of home-cooked pasta looks worthy of a magazine cover, not for show, but because beauty should exist in the everyday. Want to understand that spirit? Watch an Italian on a Vespa, wearing a crisp white shirt, a cigarette resting on his lips. Not trying to look cool, just being himself. Easygoing, confident, and knowing how to pause to enjoy a ray of sunshine. Italians don't measure life by schedules, but by moments. A sunset over tiled rooftops, laughter shared around a warm table. Perhaps that's the true kind of wealth. Living fully, living truthfully, living with heart. In order a hot espresso, an croissant, a soft, fragrant croissant, often filled with cream or jam. The whole ritual disappears in less than 2 minutes. It's an act of elegant efficiency. No fuss, no delays. Pure Italian style. But that same efficiency is transformed in the afternoon. With someone special, an Italian might linger over a cappuccino for 2 whole hours, immersed in deep conversation. Just remember one unwritten rule that separates tourists from locals. Never order a cappuccino after 11 a.m. Firmly believe that the milk in cappuccino is too heavy on the stomach after a meal and hinders digestion. In the afternoon, only espresso is considered acceptable. It's not just a cultural habit. It's an almost dogmatic belief about well-being, passed down from generation to generation. And when night falls, the pace changes again. Don't be surprised if you're invited to dinner at 8 p.m. or even later. In southern cities like Rome or Naples, sitting at the table at 9 p.m. is completely normal. But it's not just about eating. It's a small, sacred ceremony. Soft golden lights, a bottle of wine, shared lively conversation that flows effortlessly, warm laughter, and when the meal is over, there's no rush to get up and leave. In Italy, saying goodbye is a ritual in itself. It begins with a hug, followed by a few more stories at the door, and then a final shared laugh. In Italy, everything is lived slowly but deeply. There's no rush, it is savored. It leaves a lasting impression, and you'll realize that Italians don't just live, they know how to live. Once you've experienced it, you'll want to take that philosophy of life home with you. Behind the splendor and historical charm of sun-drenched piazzas and majestic cathedral domes, Italy still hides a dark side that few tourists are aware of, but which is part of its complex reality. Mafia organizations, such as Cosa Nostra in Sicily, the Camorra in Naples, and the 'Ndrangheta in Calabria, are not just relics of the past or Hollywood fictions. They are powerful and adaptable entities that not only engage in traditional criminal activities such as extortion, but have also deeply infiltrated politics, healthcare, waste management, and finance. The 'Ndrangheta, in particular, is now considered one of the richest and most powerful criminal organizations in the world. According to Europol, in 2021, it controlled a large share of Europe's cocaine market, with estimated annual revenues exceeding 60 billion euros more than many multinational corporations. Prostitution in Italy is another sensitive issue. Although not illegal when practiced independently, the industry exists in a legal gray area, where the line between consent and coercion is often tragically blurred. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, up to 80% of women working on the streets in Italy are victims of human trafficking, mostly from Nigeria, Romania, and Ukraine. Many are lured with false promises of work, coerced, and tightly controlled by organized crime networks. This isn't just a moral or social issue, it's a human rights crisis at the heart of modern Europe. Behind the streetlights and silent walls are lives that have rarely been truly protected. And sometimes, what's needed isn't judgment, but recognition and a question. Are we doing enough as a society to protect the most vulnerable? Looking at these shadows is not to tarnish the beauty of Italy, but to understand it more deeply in all its complexity. But don't leave just yet, because you might also be wondering what life is really like here, in terms of culture, cuisine, and cost of living.